Welcome everyone to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. Today's session is going to be about tourism and the environment, the interdisciplinary pathway of global sustainability. We're going to be exploring the growing challenges of over-tourism and its impact on the environment and the local communities. My name is Janeri Mendoza-Farjan, and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator for the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. And this Tuesday Times Roundtable serve as a space to discuss global perspectives and also global trends. And today's session is going to be very special. We do have two faculty members from our dear FIU that I'm going to be introducing shortly. If you haven't had a chance to sign in, the QR code is on the screen, so please do so, whether you're here for Global Learning Medallion Point, a honors college, or extra credit from your professor. This is what we use to report the attendance. Thank you for coming today. Also, if you would like to learn more about our programs, we do have information in the front area, so please visit us. One of the staff members will be happy to share a little bit more about the Global Learning Medallion, the Peace Corps Prep Program, or the Millennium Fellowships, as well as other scholarships and fellowships that we have as well for all students. Okay, today's session connects with a New York Times article, and this is something that we do with all the series. We connect them to a New York Times article. Just to continue the discussion, you may access the article at go.fiu.edu/TTR 1021. And this is because FIU has a partnership with the New York Times, so everyone with an account, an email account from FIU, gets free digital access. If you would like to activate yours, you may access at accessnyt.com. Also, today's session connects with SDG number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities by Making Cities and Human Settlements Inclusive, Safe, and Sustainable. To learn more about this SDG, you may go to go.fiu.edu/SDG, including the targets, the indicators, and also the progress on this goal. Okay, and now it is my great pleasure to introduce today's presenters, co-directors of the Global Sustainable Tourism Program here at FIU. We have with us Dr. John Bushman with the School of Hospitality, Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism and Management, and also Dr. Amir Khoddamzadeh. He is the chair for the Department of Earth and the Environment. I'm going to be reading a little bit of the bio for both of them. So we're going to start with Dr. Bushman. He teaches corporate social responsibility and global sustainability tourism courses at FIU. He earned his PhD in social welfare from FIU's Robert Stample School of Public Health and Social Work, and he holds a master's in science in hospitality management from the Chaplin School, a bachelor's in arts in travel and tourism management from Michigan State University, and certificates in hotel marketing from Lyon, Switzerland, and Latin America studies from Michigan State. Before coming to academia, Dr. Bushman worked in the industry for 28 years, serving in executive positions in leading tourism and hospitality operations in Brazil, Mexico, Spain, and the Caribbean. And he is fluent in both Portuguese and also Spanish. Dr. Bushman's research and extensive community engagement work has been centered on food system sustainability, food waste reduction and recovery, as well as the redistribution of nutrition to homeless and food insecurity populations. He is particularly interested in the role that the events industry plays as he helps to educate current and next generations of hospitality managers on their social responsibility toward the planet and the communities in which that they live. So let's give him a round of applause. All right, and we also have with us Dr. Amir Ali Khoddamzadeh. He is the chair of the Department of Earth and Environment at FIU and an associate professor of environmental horticulture. He's a core faculty member at FIU Agroecology Program affiliated with the International Center for Tropical Botany at the Campon and a research associate for Fairchild Tropical Botanic Garden. He is a co-director for the FIU Global Sustainability and Tourism and has held several leadership roles across the university. In 2024, he completed a sabbatical with the USDA's Subtropical Horticulture Research Station, where he worked on conserving tropical ornamental plants and was named as a USDA E. Kika de la Garza Science Fellow. Let's welcome him as well for a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you for being here. By the way, the free gifts are further down. If you want to come down a row or two, you'll get your free gift. And it'll be easier to have a little interaction and see each other. So yeah, I'm Dr. John Bushman, and my colleague Amir Khoddamzadeh, I hope I pronounce it correctly. I've been practicing for a while.
Yes, exactly.
We've been colleagues for more than 7, 8 years, something like that, yeah. And it's sort of a collaboration that's grown from maybe a mutual interest in food. I think perhaps that's the closest crossover between our areas is food. So he's very involved in producing it. We're very involved in preparing it and serving it and consuming it. And we've done our best to make it cyclical. How did I say that? Cyclical. It's a circular cyclical. And yeah, do you have a clicker there?
Yes.
We can go through that. By the way, this picture was us last year hiking in the Andes Mountains in Colombia. And the next picture shows, yeah, here we go. We can just pass this back and forth, or you can do it that way.
Yeah,
Great.
I can do that.
And then I didn't know we were going to get this elaborate introduction, so I prepared a couple of slides too, right? So this is my colleague, Dr. K, Amir, and you've already heard about the details about him, but I see him in two different lights. One is the science guy, all serious at the USDA in Washington, D.C., sharing his expertise, and the other is the Persian Juan Valdez, trekking through the Andes Mountains with us, looking for organic cacao and coffee plantations. So it was a really, really fun trip last year. From my side, just maybe a couple of extra things, some of the things I like to do. I'm very involved in the South Beach Wine and Food Festival with sustainability. That's our signature event that we've been putting on for more than 25 years. And hospitality at sea is a big part of me too, and our study abroad programs. You can see actually a picture of our green team there, which has been developing over many years at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, and in fact will be back on today to some extent with our Office of University Sustainability at the tailgating of the today's football game. So we'll be out there helping out, and then there's just enjoying travel when I can, chasing AI, which I call ancestral intelligence, and looking for my heritage and other people's heritage and making it all connect. What do we got? So the story today really is about collaboration between two very, very different and distinct parts of FIU and what we've been able to accomplish so far and some of the things that we hope to accomplish going forward. Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you all. What's the largest industry in Florida? It might have to do with one of the two of us. Go ahead. Tourism. You're correct. You get a free gift if you come down one more row. Tourism is the largest economic driver in the state. Absolutely. 144 million visitors last year, a record, higher than ever before. 121 plus billion dollars to the economy and 2 million jobs in Florida. If you're accustomed to making out taxes and you've come from another state, you come to Florida, you find out that we don't have a state income tax, it's because of tourism. The state government brings in enough revenue through tourism dollars to not need to tax an additional percentage onto what you already pay in federal taxes. Next question. Well, now they've seen it. Okay. What is Florida's #1 tourist attraction? Miami?
Are
Are we talking city or?
What brings tourists here?
Florida.
The weather? Ocean?
The biggest attraction is Disney.
Disney?
Okay.
Miami? Weather?
Cruise lines.
Cruise lines? All of those are important. Weather is the closest to the real answer.
I would say Biscayne Bay.
Biscayne Bay is a good one.
We're talking about
Absolutely.
Miami-Dade in particular.
Absolutely. So, Disney is not our biggest attraction, but everybody thinks it is. It's understandable. Miami Beach, nightlife, beautiful sand, Michelin star restaurants, not the number one attraction. Research has shown it's our natural environment. It's our warm climate, you mentioned weather, it's our gorgeous beaches, it's our bays, it's our Everglades, it's our kayaking trails, it's all of that. Yes?
How come Florida prioritizes building highways over investing in public infrastructure, such as public transportation?
I'm afraid I don't understand the question because you're talking about highways and public transportation as being separate?
How come Florida itself and Miami-Dade in particular prioritizes building highways over building public transportation, which could not only save on taxable land, which would reduce the need to increase property taxes, but will also get many dangerous drivers off our streets?
Okay, so I think you're talking about trains and other types of public transportation and not buses and cars? Okay, that's a little clear. I don't know the answer to that.
No, I mean, it's been something that's been, well, hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So I think this is an ongoing discussion that every mayor, I think they're trying to continue with the, plan of, building more metros and things like that. But I think there are a lot of complexity to that, and one of the main reason is the groundwater and some of the things that we have in Florida, that it makes it harder even to have structures like metros but again, this is something that's been ongoing for many years, and to be honest, no one came up with a good solution for that. So
Be a good dissertation
Hopefully.
topic for you.
yeah, hopefully the transportation people would answer that. So
Yeah, and Brightline, I guess the
for-
jury's still out on Brightline. Is that a success or not? It looks great, I just don't know. Has anybody traveled on Brightline?
yeah, it's great actually.
Does it work well?
Perfect.
Yeah?
Pretty expensive.
Yeah,
it's
that's what
costly,
I wanted
right?
to say,
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Right.
it's
Okay.
not worth taking it up to Orlando because, driving is just cheaper, even though it's more
For now, it's
convenient and more
cheaper?
comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, the prices. But it works great. I heard it hits one person a week, though.
Well, I was at the Florida Governor's Conference on Tourism just about 2 months ago, and a lot of the people who make these kind of decisions, I think, were there. And I wanted to share with you what I learned there, and it was not about more public transportation, but it was more about protecting our environment, because everybody now understands how important it is to tourism, and tourism being our number one economic generator. It goes hand in hand with exactly what we've been working on now for more than 5 years. So maybe we're just a little bit ahead of them. When we thought of these ideas of collaboration, we didn't have any idea that it was going to quite go this fast. But the state is definitely investing a lot in environmental restoration, major Everglades projects, fish and wildlife. There's a wildlife corridor where they've been buying up land across the state to preserve it for both residents and tourists alike. And coastal restoration, things that you're probably more
Right.
familiar with than I am.
Definitely. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to,
Okay, I'm going to fix your microphone.
of course,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
it's better now. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to mention is, as you know, the first priority in FIU's 2030 strategic plan, the first priority is environmental resiliency. And this is something that FIU has been recognized and trying to, put budget to pursue those goals. And if you look at here, the biggest item actually is environmental restoration, which is 1.5 billion. So there is this, famous saying that it says, "Ocean doesn't know red and blue." So, and as we mentioned in the previous slides, this is very important actually to keep the oceans open, and we're going to talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, they are also prioritizing investments in marketing, and they increased the marketing budget for the state by 60% from last year to this year to really get the word out, not only within our country, which we pretty much are very, very popular with the North American audiences, but especially overseas. So the more people that overseas can see and visualize the attractions that we have, they'll want to come more and more. So another thing that I was seeing at this conference was, and I've been going to this conference for many years, is many, many more entities present there and exhibiting there that have something to do with this environmental side of tourism. And there are just a few examples there. As well, the Visit Florida, which is our destination marketing organization for the state. It's a public-private partnership. It's not owned by the state, but it's shared. Is really focusing their marketing campaigns on themes that are more in tune with that. Follow your sunshine. Come try this. You got to see this, and the imagery that goes with it. Okay, and yes, is there a question over here?
So you mentioned how a lot of things across the state are becoming more themed around the environment and preserving the environment.
I would say there's more effort to illuminate those, and there's more investment going on to expand those, preserve them.
Do you have any concerns about possible greenwashing or intentionally lackluster efforts being made to create the illusion of trying to protect the environment without actual sincere effort?
I was going to ask you for a definition, and then you just gave it, so that's good.
Oh.
Greenwashing.
Did we ask the audience what they think?
Of course, there are concerns about greenwashing, and we're always, coming from the industry side, I'm teaching my students in my destination marketing classes to be very careful of that and to observe that, and it's actually part of their final projects where they have to identify that happening out there in industry around the world. Yes, it's going to happen, but the more we educate people, I think the less likely is that anybody can get away with it.
So I guess going back to what Dr. Bushman mentioned in the beginning, we thought about creating a new program that it can give the students a mix, knowledge on science at the same time in tourism. And we came up with this Global Sustainable Tourism actually program, which was a collaboration between Earth and Environment Department and Hospitality and Chaplin School of Hospitality.
Yeah.
So as we are discussing actually the UN sustainability goals today, and we are focusing on goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, we have to also think about the other goals that United Nations, and is related actually to this specific subject. But before talking about that, the goal 11 technique, it talks about the resilience infrastructure, and that's something that many of our faculty in engineering, in architecture, in CASE, in LAC, in IOE, actually they are working on it. Inclusive urbanization and using more native plants, that's something that our Office of Sustainability, the representative actually is here, is working towards that. Sustainable tourism development, as we mentioned, this is one of the technical goals that we will be talking about it. But can we talk about it without thinking about the other goals that is also related to this sustainable development goals, such as goal number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. Goal number 13, climate change. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 8, decent work and economic growth. And 17, partnership for the goals. We can talk about each one of those goals and the efforts that scientifically or educationally the FIU is leading. But in many of those criteria, especially the life below water and life on land, we are top university actually in the nation that is leading many of those efforts. And it's very crucial when it comes to the environment and when it comes to the tourism. And we're going to talk about some of those impacts, such as algae bloom, red tides, sargassum, seaweed invasions, and sea level rise threats. And those are all the things that we are hearing it on news every day. And those are the things that are affecting the livelihood of the people in Florida, because it's very important. If the beach is closed, then definitely there are not many visitors coming. And the same thing, it affects the health. I think you probably hear that if we have any red tide, it's better not to go to the beaches because of all the different effects that might have to the people. So those are just a few examples of the threats that are happening. And like when it comes to some of the economic and social impacts of this disruption, technically, we can talk about economic loss from environmental events. And again, there are a lot of different aspects to that we can talk about it. Health and cleanup cost, and that's something that is very crucial. I mean, we are always trying to, with hospitality, with almost every school, we're trying to have volunteer events, and through Office of Sustainability, technically, Office of University Sustainability. They're trying to have many events for beach cleanups and social impact on vulnerable communities. I think this is something that is very crucial, especially for the low-income communities, and rising sea levels and property risks. So, I mean, this is something that we know it's been happening for many, many years, especially in downtown Miami, but still, in a sunny day, you go and see that the water is there in the streets. And
I have a question or a comment over
sorry.
here.
Please.
Hi, sorry. Thank you for
I can see
coming.
you from here.
Yeah.
That's fine.
My question is about, sustainable tourism. We hear a lot about over-tourism and, around the world, for example, Hawaii or Barcelona. And in your opinion, what is like the healthy line of still being able to visit a place, but keeping it sustainable, because like if everyone stops going, in my mind, because I'm not a professional, like if everyone stops going because of over-tourism, that's also not good for them, because
Right.
they rely a lot on tourism,
We
like
are-
you mentioned in Florida, for example.
This is a great topic.
We
but
are going
let's
to
just
segue
wait.
into that very shortly. I have a number of slides addressing exactly that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I mean, we all know that, I mean, Miami Beach and, technically the Brickell and, that area, they're trying to do the same thing, but the whole cost, it comes to the property owners and to the people that are paying the rents and the higher taxes that every year you have to pay because of all those, mitigation strategies, putting more pumps to pump the water out, or making more elevated, buildings. And which actually brings us to this agritourism, which we kind of wanted to call it as a marriage of agriculture and tourism. And if you look at the combined Florida top two industries, so you mentioned that the first one is tourism, but the second
one
is
is agriculture. Correct.
So, which is contributing to the $8.8 billion. And the top sectors, farm experience and direct sales and farm-to-table events. And, of course, everybody knows us with the citrus. But it's interesting to know that in South Florida, especially in Homestead area, in Redland area, which is agriculture, taking heart of agriculture in South Florida, most of the ornamental plants you see in the market, in Lowe's, in Amazon and other places, at Home Depot, they're coming from South Florida because we don't need to build a greenhouse here. So we have that. We have the great weather all around. We don't have any issues with the water. So we are the biggest producer of the ornamental plants in the whole U.S. And also, when it comes to the subtropical fruit trees too. So this is actually a very important thing to think about it. And Which brings
So,
us to
because this is part of global learning, we wanted to make sure and transition in that direction. We've talked a lot about Florida up till now. But our program is called Global Sustainable Tourism, and that's very, very much intentional. And I can't really read all the little, you can read behind me, right? But it is such a very significant part of the economy of most countries around the world. Some countries depending almost entirely upon tourism. The interactiveness, the globalization in general of the world has really increased tourism in both positive and negative ways, and we're going to talk as well about the negatives, such as over-tourism, right? And so what we've seen then with these worlds coming almost in collision now is that it's time for a new breed of student to come out of FIU, and not simply 100% focused on environmental studies or 100% focused on the business of tourism, but a new student who has a good acumen in both worlds. That has the ability to sit down at a table, have a conversation with people in either of those professions, and we hope in future become the leaders that actually bring all that together and make the correct decisions going forward that are not all one-sided. So it's a STEM degree. It's the first one for us to be STEM. It's kind of normal for your department, right? We had a lot of conversations in the beginning about how to blend, how to make this hybrid degree. So half of our courses are in the business of tourism, taught by professors like myself who have 30 or 40 years of background in the field. And the other half of the courses are taught by the environmental scientists at our really world-renowned Department of Earth and Environment. And we focus on all three P's of the sustainability stool: the people, the planet, and the prosperity. And keep going. Yeah, let's go. And now we're going to shift over to that global question that we had just a minute ago and about over-tourism. So you've probably seen, even if you haven't been out of the country, you've probably seen news reports and you've seen social media on over-tourism happening in different parts of the world, most notably in Europe, but a lot in Asia, and to a lesser extent here in the US. Just three examples there. Venice, Italy, they've had a lot of public pressure from the residents, and the local government has really put the clamp down on keeping cruise ships out of the central harbor, the inner harbor, and really reducing the number of groups that can go there and the size of groups that can go there. And they're even charging a fee now just to walk around the old part of the city, all in an effort to reduce that over-tourism. And when you were mentioning about that, your question just a minute ago, the term that comes to mind for me is called, now that 5 minutes later I can't remember it, is carrying capacity. And so a term that we use in our industry is carrying capacity. And local governments, state governments, national governments need to work with industry and come together on understanding what is the carrying capacity, what is that magic number that a city like Venice or a city like Amsterdam or Miami Beach, for that matter, can comfortably accommodate and can thrive with business and not impact negatively the environment. So where is that magic balance? It's not easy to find, but there's a lot of new research on that. It's a relatively new topic in our industry, and so that'll continue to evolve. Amsterdam voted to ban docking of cruise ships also in the interstate. They're trying to keep those larger cruise ships that have 4,000, 5,000, even 6,000 passengers on them come in for just a day, run all over the town, buy a few things, go back. Not always the most desirable form of tourism. Barcelona, another major cruise tourism port, has actually banned Airbnbs in the older parts of the city in an effort to try and keep it down. Airbnb is a very controversial topic. We could have a whole nother session on that. So, over-tourism, you mentioned the word. There is the definition that the United Nations World Tourism Organization provides us. So in case you want to get a little understanding, but I think if you look at the picture, If I'm not mistaken, that looks like the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Anybody been there? Yeah, it's the postcard example of over-tourism right now. But you know, I could think of a dozen places that are going through that. Paris is dealing with it as well. A lot of major European destinations. What I like to teach my students is to figure out how to spread tourism out. You can't deny that you've got a very attractive city or a very attractive country or very attractive weather and beaches, but you have to figure out, and it has to involve government, it has to involve industry, both. It can't be one or the other. And this is a big thrust of our program. A few more examples there. There's a cruise ship when they were allowed into the inner part of Venice. That's done for. But another really challenging point is that when tourism goes over that tipping point, the locals, the residents, some of the businesses are profiting, yeah, but the general population doesn't always feel that profit, and they feel squeezed. And in Barcelona, it's because the rents started to go up because of the demand for the Airbnbs, and people were getting squeezed out. It's kind of like gentrification that we study in this country. But it's also environmental, and it's not just the cities. It's also the natural areas. Perfect example is Maya Bay in Thailand, and they've gone through some real transformations. They actually shut down tourism there for 4 years. You couldn't. They took all the boats out, and people were not allowed to go to certain parts of that. It's reopened. What they've actually found is that if they keep it closed for 2 months out of the year, months of I think August and September, I think they don't allow the tourism in. It allows the marine life to regenerate. It allows the water to keep its pristine nature. Are you familiar with that? Maybe you've.
Yeah, I mean, we have the same issue here in Florida too. So, and I think I mentioned that we have some incidents that the beaches are closed, and you know, people had to stay off the beaches for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're part of the Institute for Environment here at FIU too, and I know that they have a very important project on keeping Biscayne Bay,
of course,
thriving, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest issues with the Biscayne Bay is because most of the fertilizer and runoffs from the ag land is going all the way to the Biscayne Bay. So one of the issues is try to not use the fertilizer in the rainy seasons, and that's what Miami-Dade County, thanks to the mayor, actually came up with this plan that it's a fertilizer ban technically in the rainy seasons, except for there are a few exceptions, but mostly we should not use that fertilizer. And the main reason is the algae bloom and technically the water pollution, especially with the nitrogen and phosphorus, because those are the macronutrients that we are mostly using for all plants, and those are the things that plants love the most and they're using the most. So the whole idea was adding less fertilizer, which definitely helps to have less, food for the algae, for the water canals, and ultimately to the bay.
I think the other side of the state has experienced a lot of that too. Over in Lee County and Fort Myers and Naples area, they've been struggling with that and working with government and working with agriculture to make those changes.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which leads us to our homework assignment. Who read it? This is the Tuesday Times Roundtable. I remember when this was actually at a round table. We would bring our sack lunches, and everybody would read the article, and we'd have a discussion. But this event has gotten a little bigger, and I suspect people aren't really reading the article, and they're hoping we're going to tell you exactly what it says and means. Nobody read it. Okay, we got to do something about it. We got to figure out how to change this. So this article appeared not long ago. I think it was last year in the New York Times, and we went through a few different articles and came up with this as a good example of what we're talking about here. And it is a global example. It's another European city that's dealing with these issues, and they've come up with some interesting ideas of actually offering incentives instead of being the negative side. They're saying let's go on the positive side and offer some incentives for tourists to go to certain places and to do make certain choices. We're not going to go through the whole article, but I did put it up there in case you want to read it real quickly.
Yeah.
But they've created a fee then, particularly oh, I'm sorry, the fee is Venice Day Trippers. I mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah.
But for Copenhagen, I think that's trying a different approach, rewarding visitors. There we go. So beginning just last year, I think it's just been a year, tourists demonstrating climate-friendly travel behaviors. So this is behavior change. This is really interesting. Let's take it from the positive side. Cycling, train travel, cleanup efforts. Those people who are participating in those are probably going to enjoy it, and they're also getting free access and free meals and things like that. It's a very innovative idea, and we actually have a partner university in Copenhagen and just north of Copenhagen that's been involved in some of those things, and they're coming here in February actually to join us on our green team at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. So I can't wait to have the professor and I think about 30 or 40 of their students coming to join us in our efforts to keep Miami Beach clean when we're having big events.
I think it's just talking about some of those examples.
Yeah, it's just really kind of walking through it. So you've got the article in the link,
Yeah.
but I encourage you to read through it. And I wanted to compare that also with another global learning initiative, which is COIL, Collaborative Online International Learning. Has anybody been in a classroom with a COIL program? Oh my gosh, we got to work on that too. Come to my class. I do COIL programs. I did one about a year and a half ago here with a university just north of Barcelona in Girona. And we put 2 tourism classes, although theirs is more on the communications side, and they were working on things involving social media, and we were working more on the sort of national and state level tourism marketing side, and we put the 2 classes together in a collaborative online learning environment with a mutual project, and we'd have 3 students from University of Girona and 3 from FIU's Chaplin School working together over 4 weeks, going back and forth online, because of the time differences, but students always have a way of finding the time that they can chat or they can leave messages and all that. And I think we had 6 teams elaborated a really interesting project, and they came up with some great suggestions about exactly what Copenhagen was doing. And that Copenhagen article came out after this class. They were totally unrelated, but maybe some of those students in Barcelona had some understanding of that. The Barcelona students, or maybe they'd traveled to Copenhagen and gotten wind of that. I'm not sure, but those 2 things kind of happened right around the same time. Some other things that we're doing at the Chaplin School to really take tourism and sustainable tourism and global learning and bringing them all together is our study abroad program. So as we started this program just 3 years ago in 2022, we started adapting our study abroad programs to include special content on global sustainable tourism. Our first program actually was part of another program where we went to Patagonia in South America, and we visited glaciers and we visited penguin colonies and did hiking in the mountains there and things like that. And the students were just so thrilled, they thought, we'd really like to have our own program. So last year then we created one that specifically went to the Amazon River and the Amazon rainforest of Brazil, in the state of Amazon, Brazil, where we actually chartered a traditional Amazonian riverboat for a week. And the students and one professor had that. They were able to stop where they wanted to, go visit local villages where they wanted to, go find out about that waterfall they'd heard about, go swimming with dolphins, and really get immersed in the local tourism there. It was an incredible experience for those students. We're about to do another one we're putting together now for the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And we are going to be, next year in December, it'll be Fall D, by the way. And if you are interested, you can grab that QR code and get on our list, and I'll be sending you more details then. But we'll be going to Cancun and looking at that example of over-tourism, what a mega resort that has become, and contrasting that with what's going on in the rest of the the Maya land of Yucatan. There's a new train that just got completed last December called the Tren Maya. It's a major project, I mean a mega project of the Mexican government. They diverted a lot of tax dollars, or tax pesos I should say, into that project. And it just opened in December. It's not 100% complete, but it's probably 90% complete. So we're going to take our students and we're going to travel on that train. We're going to go from Cancun after looking at the examples of what that's become over 50 years, and then visit the areas that this new train is exposing tourists to. And we'll be looking at positive impacts, negative impacts, and judging. Our students will judge for themselves what they're seeing. Go ahead.
This whole Cancun thing and the Yucatan Peninsula.
Yes.
I'm looking at the website. I don't really see it. Is this thing going to happen next year?
It hasn't been published yet. So if you do the QR code, I think you're able to put your name and email, and I'm going to send you the details as soon as it's published. I'm in the final details now, working with tour operators and eco lodges and campgrounds and things like that in Mexico to put this together. So so this is just examples of the collaborations that we're doing. And it's just been an enormous pleasure to work with Amir and the many colleagues I've gotten to know. It's about 6 of your professors that are teaching classes related to this, and I hope we'll do more and more together.
Definitely. So you want to talk about this?
Let's see. We have a few minutes. Yeah, I threw in one extra slide here, maybe 2. I'm not sure. And this is our latest collaboration, and it's not really tourism, it's more the hospitality side of our Chaplin School. And the two, tourism and hospitality, we can talk for hours on the blending of those two and what they really mean. But the hospitality side, which very much has to do with restaurants and food production, is something that we've been working a lot with Earth and Environment on. Also the Office of University Sustainability here, which has the nature preserve and the compost operation here at MMC. We've learned quite a bit from you all, and tried to replicate that at BBC. And we recently opened, just this past summer, a new living laboratory at BBC. And these are just some of the things that we're doing there. And you might not even, we have representatives here from Sustainability, you might not even know about all the things we're doing, but those are the short list of items that we're working on right now. But every day, or every week I should say, we're hearing from clubs, student clubs, we're hearing from professors who want to bring their classes and make use of our outdoor laboratory. And we absolutely welcome that.
And how many of you knew that we have organic garden on campus?
On this campus, yeah.
Okay,
quite a few of you are familiar with it. Good.
Okay, perfect. So we do work closely with University Sustainability. So if you're interested, go to the Instagram page or to their website. They have a lot of volunteer days, and we need your help actually to maintain the garden and nature preserve, because we don't have any staff. So we definitely need the students' help with that. And it's a great project actually.
Let's put them on the spot. Where are the people from Sustainability here? There they are.
There you go.
How can they reach out to you and get involved in some of your volunteer projects?
Good afternoon. So our main website, or our only website, is sustainability.fiu.edu. And then all our volunteer opportunities are listed on GivePulse, so givepulse.com. Also, any of the community service that you do that is connected to GivePulse, that will work towards a medallion of civic engagement and some other things that are very valuable as you approach graduation.
Great, thanks, Connie.
You.
And if anyone would like to help us, we are doing, so today we have a tailgate football.
I mentioned at the beginning, that's where we're going after this.
And then there are 2 more games. So today will be a small game, but the next 2 are going to be doozies. So please check those opportunities out on GivePulse.
Yeah, we'd love to have you come out and work with us on keeping our footprint as clean as we can and diverting as much as we can from landfill.
And I think the last slide is...
The last slide is about a course that's coming up. If you're an FIU student and you think you like what you're hearing, but you're not really sure, you're not ready to change majors yet, we've got a very easy 1-credit course that we offer every spring. It's 1102 Foundations and Pathways in Global Sustainable Tourism. This past spring we taught it on this campus. next spring it'll be on the Biscayne Bay campus. And what we do there is we bring in a lot of experts. So it's not just, professor like me just droning on at you. It's really using all of our best contacts and bringing in people who are out there doing this kind of work every day. And it can get really inspiring. We had some really great people coming in last. We had experts on,
Ecolodge and
ecolodge development with primate research in the Congo. What else? We had, shark tourism. Anybody experience shark tourism? There is such a thing.
okay, so we can, I guess.
We have also Latin America's in the house, LAC, and I wanted to get your opinion, what you think about our new project to go visit the Yucatan. I know you're pretty familiar with that territory.
So thank you for everything. Hi, everyone. So I'm Liesl Picard, Associate Director of the Kimberly Green Latin American and Caribbean Center. Hi, Ed. Nice to see you here, one of our alumni. So I applaud you for this partnership. It's great to see this interdisciplinary cross-fertilization. I think students learn more, better professionals in the future when you work across disciplines. So I love what you're doing. I'm also excited to see the Train Maya project come together. I think it's a project that deserves scrutiny. I would love to hear from the students who participate about what they thought when they came back. And I also am really proud that FIU is looking at tourism in partnership with Earth and Environment through the lens of sustainable tourism. Because from our experience in Latin American and Caribbean studies, it's no longer really acceptable to go to places or communities and just extract from those places or those people resources, whether they be natural resources or whether they be human resources, right? That goes for knowledge, that goes for physical artifacts. And so Train Maya is going to be a great experiment.
Yes.
And I can't wait to hear more about it. And I look forward to also being part of these conversations and helping to support that work. So I think as students, you're all really lucky to be coming up and studying these issues. When you are studying these issues, when I was pursuing my undergraduate degree, the climate was very different, right? And the practices and the way that some people, scholars in different countries around the world engaged on these issues, the processes were very different. So I think you're lucky to be doing this when you're doing it and doing it at a place like FIU. So congratulations. I love it.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to what's to come.
And Lisa was in fact the architect of the hiking adventure that I showed before you came in.
They have a photo of you.
We had a few pictures up there in the Andes of our adventures. Another question or comment over here.
Yeah, I have a question and kind of piggybacking from what Lisa said. Because when we talk about sustainable tourism, some people think about, I'll just go volunteer at this country. But then, we can read about how that can be harmful too, because they set up these volunteering sites prioritizing the touristic experience over the community needs. How do you make sure that doesn't happen if you take students to a place, or if, how can we as a part of the community, look at volunteer opportunities without that being like this white savior complex, that we are actually helping the community instead of just this setup thing of you know what I mean? Not making...
I do know what you mean. And in fact...
my English is not my first language, but I'm trying.
I know exactly what you mean, and we're taking very, very special care on this project in the Yucatan. I've been back and forth over the last several weeks with a nonprofit operating in Bacalar. You're familiar with the Bacalar, the lagoon of seven colors of blue, I guess. 7 shades of blue, they call it. And for many years, this gorgeous piece of the earth became polluted, and tourism, over tourism had really not taken care of it. And the The residents have been able to change that, and they've gotten it back to a very, very nice balance, and they're determined to keep that balance, and they're limiting the growth, and they're very careful about how they promote tourism to that area. And so we're working right now on giving, as part of this program, a 2-day volunteer experience there to help them continue their work and have a hand in it. In other examples, I would just say always, I mentioned earlier ancestral intelligence. You talk to the elders of any community, because a lot of times a middle or a younger generation is, it may be their livelihood, it's their job, it's their career, and so tourism is great, it's bringing in more money and all that. But if you talk to the elders, you can often get that long-term perspective. And what has changed for the better and what has not changed, what has changed for the worst. And engage them in the conversations about development. They need to have a hand in decision making. And we call that community-based tourism, when you actually, the community has a stake in it over and above any multinational corporation that might want to come in and develop a piece of land. We have a few more minutes.
Hi. I have a question, and you kind of just talked about it, community elders and working
Yes.
with Native, Indigenous, and
AI,
Aboriginal
ancestral
people.
intelligence.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that and how that applies to this upcoming trip and also your past projects.
Well, how can I elaborate more on that? So when we were in Colombia, we visited an eco-lodge, which had just been developed. And we watched and we talked to the 3 partners that had put together and listened to their story about how carefully they met with the local community, engaged them in the development of that. And some of the things that they noticed that would need to be done in order to be successful. For example, there just wasn't adequate schooling for the children in the area. And so for them to have a good solid workforce that can handle the jobs that would be offered there and allow that money to stay in the community, they needed to be better educated. So they actually helped to fund, I think, 2 public schools there, right? I remember hiking and seeing one of them. And and then we saw the other one when we found that little almost a jungle coffee place, a jungle Starbucks of sorts.
A security issue.
Yeah. So just a couple of examples. One of our adjunct professors is a developer of eco-lodges, was just in the country of Guyana, and Guyana is facing massive developments coming up because of the oil that they've discovered there, and the economy is really taking off there. And so there are a number of communities that are very concerned about that, and they want to make sure that they don't overdevelop. So they had him come in and sit down with him, and he explained to them, he says, tourism needs to be community-based and needs to involve especially the older generations. Even if they're not involved in the economic decisions, they must be listened to, and their advice needs to be incorporated. And in some cultures, that's highly, highly respected. In other cultures around the world, it's maybe not paid attention to enough. So this is a really key thing that I learned from his travels and his developments. Yeah.
Can you specify it down to what we as students can do, here in the context of FIU? How can we empower our elders, empower the Native community, empower the Indigenous community? What can we do, maybe even today?
Maybe in a couple of weeks, I think it's in about 2 weeks, there is an amazing event going on at the Big Cypress Reserve in Central Florida. If you're going across towards Naples on Alligator Alley, and that one turnoff that has the only gas station. If you turn off there and you go north, I think it's about 13 miles, there's a winding road called Snake Road. You get to the, what is the name of the village there? I know that the reservation is called Big Cypress. I don't remember the name of the village. They have a wonderful museum there called Atatiki, and they have an annual festival, indigenous festival, and that's coming up around, it's the first week of November. I can't remember. It's a Friday and a Saturday, and I can't remember if it's like 1 and 2 or 7 and 8, something like that. I would strongly encourage you just to go over there. It's probably an hour's drive, maybe an hour and a half, depending on where you live, and spend a day with them there, and you'll learn so much. It's really, really, really impressive. And you'll probably want to go back and get involved in the museum and get involved in the tourism and how to promote a location like that, which is not near the beach, it's not near Miami Beach, it's not near the casinos, it's way out, right? But it's a very worthwhile visit to really learn about the beginnings of Florida and even the beginnings of Florida tourism, because the indigenous population, the artistry, the lifestyle has always been an attraction for tourism coming to Florida. People driving down from northern and midwestern states. They'll show you some of the old postcards and some of the old promotions and how tourism really started in this state.
I just want to add something to what you said. I think you asked how we can kind of educate, the elderly, or that. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you, like 10 years ago, I remember we didn't have any sustainability club at FIU, but it all started with the students. When we talked about plastic-free campuses, everybody was thinking there's no way that we can do that, or many initiatives. Started with the student clubs, with the student asks, and
we're still not there.
Right, yeah, but you're getting there. So I think many of those things, like planting more natives. I remember we had this discussion with Office of Sustainability at the time, like many times. So I think definitely that education and that demanding part is by the students, by your generation, and definitely the change will come. So
we're starting a new tourism club at our school. Matter of fact, the e-board is forming right now. They're putting through the paperwork or electronic work so that it'll be up and running in January. And I was hoping they would be up and running so that we could do this event with the Mikosuke, but the timing was such that they're not quite formed yet. But we'll definitely be doing that next year. But that club, that'll be something that they're going to be focused on. And their activities should be engaging in the kinds of things I think you're wondering about. And that's going to be called SCAL International. It's part of a global, it's actually the oldest tourism club in the world. It goes back about 100 years, formed in Europe. And so we're going to form our own chapter right here on this campus.
And I just want to add a few more recommendations. It follows up on what Amir was saying. Our programming responds to the demand of students. And so I encourage you to look at the courses that are focused on indigenous content, right? Look at the certificate programs. Our own center, the Latin American and Caribbean Center, we have undergraduate and graduate certificates, as well as a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. So much of that content is about indigenous studies in Latin America and the Caribbean. We offer indigenous language study. You can study Haitian Creole, which is an indigenous language. You can study Quechua. You can study Quechua. You can study Aymara. All of those languages are indigenous languages of our hemisphere. You should check those out. We can help you study Zapotec, other indigenous languages that may not be offered at our university, but you can enroll sometimes for free to study those languages at partner institutions. So there are tons of opportunities for credit, non-credit at this university, but it's up to you, the student, to ask for those opportunities, plug in, seek them out, come and see us at the Latin American and Caribbean Center. If we don't offer it, I know that I can find somebody who can help you find what you need. I also want to mention FIU has a fantastic group of faculty who have come together as part of the Global Indigenous Forum. That is a super active organization of faculty and scholars that offer programs throughout the year. Again, global indigenous, so they're covering communities and First Nations from across the world. So that may be something else that interests you. And really just be curious. And again, we're here to serve you. And so if you are asking for it, we do our best to provide it. And your requirements, your demands help us convince the university that it is important to the learning community here. So please keep asking.
And
okay?
get out
That
there and
protects our
volunteer.
programming.
Yes.
And volunteer.
Absolutely the best
Excellent.
way.
All right, so I would like for everyone to give a big round of applause. Thank you so much for such an engaging conversation and also for the amazing work that you do for global sustainability and also in each of your respective departments. We really appreciate we really appreciate you both coming in today and creating awareness. I feel we're all leaving with a lot from this session, so thank you so much for being here. A big round of applause again. Right, and as a reminder, our last in-person Tuesday Times Roundtable is going to be next week. We're having actually a community partner coming over from First Child Tropical Botanical Garden to do a session on environmentally endangered lands. So please join us again next week for our last in-person TTR. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.